Hi, what's up guys? It's 12 here, and I'm recording a little video. Hopefully it will help some people who are playing ZOOTR. A number of people ask me how I get through Water Temple. Now, I will show people what I normally do. This was the seed which I got my PB on last week. And so I don't need to do Water Temple. I've already completed the seed. There was absolutely no reason to go into Water Temple whatsoever. So I'm coming back and revisiting this seed. And you can see that right now I'm stood outside Water Temple. I haven't even opened the gate. I have everything I need to complete this temple. And this is a normal seed. This is no key sanity or dungeon shuffle or any of that nonsense inside. This is just a normal ZOOTR. So let's get to it. So the first thing is the door. Now, for this, most people will use the iron boots. The iron boots is the easiest way in. However, you can do this with the long shot as well. You can get into the water temple, provided you have the long shot and you have the gold scale. As you can see here, I do have the gold scale. I'm sure this is familiar to most people. All you need to do is get over here, and you can see you can walk ever so slightly into this before you start swimming. So as far as you dare before you actually start swimming, and you can hit the switch with the long shot. And that's all you need to do. You can hit that switch with the long shot. You do not need the iron boots to get down here, and I will prove it with the gold scale. You can swim over to the entrance and swim under the gate. I've tried this with the silvers. It doesn't work because it doesn't give you enough depth to work with the silver scale. You must have the gold. Okay, so now we're in. So the first thing I do coming in here, obviously I have Zelda's Lullaby, otherwise I have difficulties completing the game. The first thing I do is I try and get over here. And if you've got the Scarecrow song, actually I don't need the hovers, I should just be able to do this. So what you saw there was a little bit of a glitch where Link starts spamming hold, and if you have your sword out, you can swing your sword and it pops you up most of the time. It didn't on that attempt. Obviously you could do this with hovers as well. I'm just trying to show that this is possible. There you go. And while you're here, you don't need to play Zelda's Lullaby. You just need to play the Scarecrow song while you're up here. This is an interesting point. It saves time later on, because normally you would have to go through this circuit here, and there's a room with a water spurt on a switch, and there's a Tektite in that room, and it's awful, and eventually you come up out there right next to the place where you can play ZL, and that's how you affect your water levels. So the first thing I do is I come over to this set of rooms over here on the east side. Now, I normally just go straight across and enter in on this floor, the top floor, and come round here and drop down. And I pull this block out. Now, this is part later on of a circuit of the checks. You can do it twice. You can shoot the arrow and then shoot the hook shot, and you can go through the circuit twice. I find it's much easier just to get the first half of this dungeon journey out the way. So then we go down the floor. Just one floor, if the iron boots will allow us. With the long shot, you can get to this area. I think you could do it with hook shot as well. You could do this with the water level raised. You don't have to fight the stingers here. It just saves time if you're able to get here without having done anything to any of the water levels first. There we go. We got rid of all of them. If you do this before lowering the water level, there are 4 of them. And here. You shoot this one, now we're up. Now you can hit the switch and it's on a timer delay, or you can do what I try and do and spam roll and get the chest first try. And we get a small key. Remembering that there are 4 items in here, everything else is a small key or the big key. There are no maps or compasses. If there are maps and compasses in your game, then there are only 2 items in Water Temple, so beware of that. Next, we go all the way down to the basement. And we enter the torch room. Once we get here, we float all the way up to the top. At this point, do not change the water level. Only change the water level if you need to go beyond this point. So go in. And we take care of these urchins. There we go. It helps with the bigger old sword. Bigger sword range, you can strike everything. It's great. And we open the next chest. And it's a small key. At this point, stop. If at this point you have done the 2 checks and you have the big key and the long shot, go straight to Morpher and defeat the boss. At this point. And the difference being, if you have the big key, you do not need to change the water levels. It is better for you to kill the boss and come back into Water Temple later if you have to. Because if you start messing with the water levels, it takes a while to get back to where you are. Now, as we've seen, we don't have a big key, so we must continue. Now you get to play ZL at the first checkpoint. First checkpoint lowers the water all the way down to the lowest level, as I'm sure you're all aware. There's a little clip that I like to do here. If you have bombs and the hover boots, it makes it much easier. You look at this wall, you target the wall, you step back, and you side hop. Now, I was a little bit too fast there. I should take that a little bit slower just so that people see again. So target the wall so that you walk perfectly backwards. And do a little side hop. And this means that you're able to get to the bomb wall in 1 cycle. You don't have to change the water level to come back here. You can do this normally as well. It's just a little bit slower and you may forget this chest. So this is how I do that. And then we go down. At this point, we then do the torches here. That's still not worked, has it? I'm bad at aiming, guys. I'm good at routing, but bad at aiming. There we go. Much better. So then we go and fight some clams. Evil clams. You fool! Good thing I'm not streaming, otherwise that would be updating my frozen command. That was item number 1. Okay, so we're done here. Now, if you are still considering searching items and you don't have Ocarina of Time, now is the time to come over to this one, complete opposite end from where you've just come out. This is on the west side of the dungeon. And you push the block in and we go to the whirlpool. Now, I don't like coming here if I know that I'm going all the way to River, but sometimes it's actually important to come here. Especially if you do not have Song of Time. If you don't have Song of Time, you can't get here having gone all the way to Shadow Link and done all that nonsense. So we hit the switch, and we wait for the water to come up, and then we jump across. Ignore the Tektite, he's useless. Jump in the whirlpool, and Iron Boots. Iron Boots make this easy. I don't know if there's a setup for doing this without Iron Boots. I have not come in here without the Iron Boots, I'll be honest. I know that you can get in here without requiring them, but I've also found the Iron Boots in here before. So, fortunately, this is okay. If you don't have the Iron Boots, I don't know how you do this. You're on your own. We found another small key, as expected. And we continue on our journey. Dirk, Dirk, Dirk. Okay. The Dirk head did not want us to leave. Right. Slay the Tektite if you wish. I do. This one you can hit the switch if you like, or if you've got the hook shot or the long shot, you can just latch onto this. Back underwater we go, and out we go. This is the one which does require you to have the Iron Boots at the bottom, so that you can hook shot up to it. You can hook shot. You don't need a long shot for it. If you do this later after River, then the water level's all the way up, so you don't need to bother with the hook shot. You can just float your way on up. From here, we are done at this point. We do not need to go in any of the other side places at this point. Now, note that I do have 4 small keys, and you may be wondering, should I go and check the gilded chest at this point? If you know what the gilded chest, the big key chest, that item is, then go for it. Otherwise, completely ignore it. It's worth 2 small keys, and it's very slow. So, for the time being, we ignore it. We continue. We go to Central Pillar. Everyone's favourite. I need to change my controller's dead zone. I've been saying that for weeks and I still haven't done it yet. So we now change the water level to its mid position, and this does some important stuff for us, but most importantly it raises the plug at the bottom of the central pillar, and we are going all the way down to the bottom. This is the one check that I'm reliably informed does require the iron boots. If you're playing with fewer tunic requirements, of course, you do not need a tunic. A fairy in a bottle will help you out. However, this is the one check that does require iron boots because the length of time it takes to dive down here is greater than 8 seconds provided to you by the gold scale. I think it's about 10. Obviously, iron boots, you don't care. Hook shot at the ready, and you can just oh, the last one got me. You can just smash up Smash Up, very good card game, by the way. Lots of expansions for it too. Okay, the hook shot didn't want to fire, but we're okay. Okay, that just hit the edge of the clam, no big deal. It did want to fire again, good job. Okay, that was just RNG manipulation. Because now we're right in this corner. And here we go, central pillar chest. Fortunately, this is the only thing you need to do in central pillar, and if we do, there's the boss key. So at this point, finding the boss key is great, because remember the scarecrow we set earlier? All you need to do is exit central pillar, hook shot your way onto the scarecrow, raise the water levels, and go and face Morpher. Ignoring the fact that we have the boss key, let's continue. This is the only check that does require the iron boots, so after this, with the way that we are routing, you are only going to ever go into that room once, so ideally you have the iron boots and you don't care. So now we turn and we come out here, and we've already done this part, so we can continue. And we come round the back, and now we're headed south. And we want to do the shooty part of this. And just wait for this Tektite to catch up, because he's going to try and jump on my face while I swing the bow. Come on. There we go. Good. Now, because we already did half the puzzle earlier, we only need to do this once. Bow at the ready. Hook shot across. Oh, I got cheated. So, the important thing is, if the hook shot has latched, it doesn't matter whether the barrier comes down or not, you will still go through. You must have latched onto the eye, though. Right. So, bow shot again. And away we go. You can also do that if you're quick using the hover boots. But you still need the bow to activate the eye. And we come on through. Oh look, the block's been pushed already for us. You can push it all the way into its final resting place, or you can just push it a bit of the way, because you're only coming here for this one chest. And it's a small key. And then you can leave. And this deposits you on the top floor. Now remember, the water level is still at the midpoint. Slay the Tektite. There is nothing for us at this point on the mid floor. Remember to go back if you so choose, because you may need to go and get the chest from the bombable wall before. Hook shot across. This is much quicker, because we already spent the time to set the scarecrow. We just come straight up here. Otherwise you would have to dive down, and it's all sorts of nonsense. So, raise the water level. And a reminder that at this point, if you do have the big key, for the love of God, kill Morpher now. Because the next couple of chests are terrible. So again, to reiterate, you need the long shot to get over there. Once you have the water level at this height, you can just simply hook shot on over, and everything will be good for you. You can finish Morpher and come back to the rest of the chests and the checks later. But at this point, assuming you still do not have the boss key, you will have 2 small keys at least in your possession. So now we come over here. Waterfall is trivialized by the fact that you have the long shot. You can do this in as few as 1 or 2 hooks across. You can do this with the hook shot as well, it will just take some more time. There's the second small key use. Hover boots trivialize this room greatly, and it's so good. Okay, I was having issues with the camera there, so here's a backup with the iron boots. You should be able to go down here, and Tektite's willing. Change the water level. By changing the water level, you are then able to get over here, and with a long shot, hook shot your way back across. Here. So I've not completely ruined it, I just scuffed a little bit. Cheeky. Right. Let's lower the water levels again. If I can aim. Right, there we go. We aim it across. Right. So, take 2. This time we don't scuff it up completely. Running speed and grab. Again, running speed. You can get to either side. If you come to this side, then you can just climb up and over. And we're good. And we run across over here. Hover boots off. Climb on top of the head. And now if you've done this with the hook shot, this part's familiar. And stab him in the back. Right. And now we've reached Shadow Link. Hammer at the ready. If you have the hammer, this fight is trivial. Same if you have the sword, but I love showing off this trick with the hammer. So, the point of Shadow Link is he is your shadow. Whenever you deal him damage, he always spawns behind you. And he does not, after the first hit, know what to deal with you with the sword. So he just stands there and takes it. The hammer deals 1 heart of damage to him every time. So he just stands there and gets smacked in the face 12 times, because it's equal to 12 hearts that I have. And I hammer him to death. Stop, hammer time. So this is the chest before River Shadow Link. I get bombs and stop. This is the full stop point. You must have Song of Time to progress. If you do not, and you still do not have the boss key, count the number of keys you have. If you have 2, then you may go to the Gilded Chest. If you have fewer than 2, you are locked out. You have to have at least 2 keys to continue progression if you do not have the Song of Time. That being said, we do have the Song of Time, so we can continue. As I said previous to starting this video, I do have everything. I have already completed this seed. I do have everything I need to full clear the dungeon. This is just for the benefit of people, what I would do next. So here's the remainder of the routing. And you follow that path round into the river, and you get sucked by the vortex. because you weren't paying attention. I should have equipped the iron boots quicker, I suppose. Yeah, I'm just gonna void out and have a do-over on this. Fortunately, you do not need to play the song again. The block's already removed. And there are sculptures in here if you need extra gold skulls. However, if you need extra gold skulls at this point in the game, I wish you luck. And iron boots on. There we go. Iron boots make this part much safer. And there is a nice little clip coming up with the hover boots too. So aim this up. Hover boots and long shot help here. You can do this with hook shot too, but equip the hover boots and just roll on over. It makes the whole thing so much easier. There's an item we got. It was a bloopy. And you can also come down here and equip your iron boots and get this chest from earlier. If you had done this before, earlier in the routing, then that's okay. Sometimes if you don't have the Song of Time, you need to come back here to get the river chest later, then you'll have already done this. However, I find that it's easier to skip this chest, and if I know I'm going all the way round river to that solitary chest, and then get this chest on exit, so I have the two chests together. And out we come. Now you can hook shot up here, but remember, we changed the water levels. So previously, you have to hook shot up here. However, with the water levels being all the way at the top, we can just simply swim out. This is the point where things have gone totally wrong. If you have checked every chest, every single one, and you have still not found that darn key, this is the point where you have to regret your life choices, and you have to go all the way to the big key chest. So you go to the northern room, and you must have the long shot to get into this area. This requires a hook shot. This one, however, requires the long shot. And this requires a small key. And the next room also requires a small key, the door immediately before where we're headed. If you want to, hover boot skip here saves lives. Otherwise, you have to go round, and it takes a long time, and it's incredibly slow. And here you are, the last chest that I check. I hate coming all the way over here. It does waste quite a bit of time. But this is the boss key chest, the big key chest, the gilded chest, whichever you want to call it. And this holds the last small key in the dungeon. Because we have decided that we are not opening a particular key door on our journey. This does in fact save a key. And then it doesn't matter what you do here, you can get in with the hover boots, you can just come around normally. And hook shot back across. Beware the clams. And you can float all the way back up to the top now. And if we check the minimap right now, this should be all chests cleared. Which it is. So that's the way I route this dungeon. I hope that explains, because a lot of people get lost in this dungeon. the more you practice this dungeon, the easier it becomes to remember the layout that you go to. That obviously that sounds incredibly contrived, mostly because it is. But I honestly, this is just practice. The only reason I remember any of this is through practice. So the easiest way is just to think of where you're going. Starting from when you first enter the temple, you are facing north. So I head to east and I do the east side of the temple first. Then I come back round. Sometimes I do that chest in the vortex room. Sometimes I leave it until I come back later. Then I change the water level. I do central pillar. I do the target and the hook shot and push the block, and we get that check. And it drops us up here at the top level. I then hook shot. Thank you, Tech-Tite. I hook shot over here, and this allows me to raise the water level from here. And then I like to then go across the waterfall, face off against Shadow Link, do the river chest, come back up for the second chest if I haven't done it already, and then if all else has failed, that's when we go down, all the way down to the basement. It's the basement, it's the room facing north, the room 2 floors underneath, where we're headed to the boss room. And a reminder again, there are 2 fairies in these pots here, and the only requirement is that we get to this door with the boss key. If you have troubles with this particular climb, the hover boots actually help. Which has surprised me, made things a lot easier when I was first doing it. And then all you do, boss key will open the door for you. And then we can have a fight against Morpher. We'll see how well this goes. Here we go. Ah, didn't get the lockdown. We'll try and get him to come out to play nice. You just want to hook every time. And then you keep him in the corner. Crouch stab, crouch stab. 1 cycle. It's that easy. You lock him in the corner and then you poke him to death. Yeah. So I said I was going to record this. This has been just over half an hour. I hope this helps people, because I know that a few people have asked me how I route my water temples so efficiently, and it is very easy to get lost in here. Even for people who have played this game for a long time, they still question, where am I going? Is this the right way to go through things? And this is the most efficient that I've found. And hey, look, my run is now valid. I found the 1 rupee. So this is how I complete Water Temple. I hope that people will find this useful, and yeah, I hope people have greater luck with their water temples in the future, having had a look at this video. Yeah, I'm happy with everything that I've done. Things become easier with various items, obviously. Long shot is super helpful. Iron boots as well. Hover boots if you've got them. Obviously, gold scale also helps to get in here. But I was just showing how I would route an optimal water temple where you have everything. So I think that's everything I need to cover. Guys, hope you have a great rest of your day, whatever day it is for you. And I hope that this has helped improve your ZOOTR. So, take care, everyone. I'll see you again soon, and yeah, have a good one. Bye.